Hiya, Dr. Allison JK here, sharing this sacred site with you. For those of you who haven't been here with me and don't recognize this, it's the Glastonbury Abbey, and we are on sacred ground. This is tied as one of my two favorite places in Glastonbury to come to. The Mary ley line and the Michael ley line run through here, so the earth itself has a lot more charge to it. This is also what William Blake, one of my favorite poets, when I taught English literature and actually had have a bachelor's in English literature, New Jerusalem, because Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus' uncle, came here, and the first church in the west of Jerusalem dedicated to Jesus is on this site. And behind my head is the supposed King Arthur and Queen Guinevere graves, trying to avoid squinting in the sun. So it's like right over in between those two main gates there. And so these are the ruins of the old Glastonbury Abbey, and you're getting a special blessing from being on the connecting with the land. So just take a minute and connect in with the land here. And one of the things that I have seen come up a lot in recent months that really wants to be spoken to today, one of them was about change, and that was really making itself prevalent on the 3-day money challenge we just completed. That was super fun. And people trusting themselves to be able to deal with the changes that they can sense afoot. Now, as many of you know who have been following me for years, I've been talking about this change, humanity's greatest evolutionary leap. 3 of my 4 books are written about this, from 2012 to 2032. Proactively choosing change rather than waiting for crisis is one of the key ways to maneuver through this time. And one of the ways that we go about these changes that will be most beneficial to us in that proactive stance is having a stronger sense of our connection to our higher self, our intuition and our intuitive guidance, guiding us for the changes. So I could give you a couple of different examples of how there's been improvements made because of changes that have happened. And so one of the natural stances of the ego mind is to resist change. And yet, you know, the implied assumption with that too, I mean, it is a natural state of everybody's mind. It's the nature of the ego mind, keeping us safe, right? You all have gotten that by now. I've been talking about that for decades, and so are a lot of other people nowadays. But the assumption in there implied is that change is bad. We have to protect against it because it could bring something bad in. Now, what the ego mind is doing is protecting us, keeping us safe against the unknown. I want you to think about at least 3 changes that have happened where improvements have been made, because we are organic. We are of the same nature that nature is, right? And one of the major premises of Taoism, which is behind acupuncture, is follow nature's way. Another way from the Gnostics is as above, so below. And so trees grow up, flowers grow up, they blossom. And we're in a time now where the changes we're making are meant to be for so much better circumstances, our new golden era. And so using our intuition to guide us for the changes. I have seen recently a lot of people who have been now, let's say, awakened and aware of the nature of the times we're in, from its nickname, Humanity's Spiritual Awakening Times. They've become a bit more spiritual. They've started to go on retreats. They may start some meditating or yoga. And they approach it still without having purified the ego mind like meditation does. Now, I'm not suggesting all of you meditate. I mean, I have that history, and it is a purification vehicle for sure, and it's very much hugely contributing to why I'm able to get the results I am in energy medicine. The intuition, though, is meant to be beyond the ego. It's meant to be, the meaning of the word yoga is to yoke with the divine. Yoke with the divine. Higher self right above our crown chakra. And the chakras even further above that, and those are even more connected to the divine. So I see people making, after having been awakened for a year or two, maybe 4, and they've gone on those retreats, they've done some spiritual tourism, they're still approaching their intuitive guidance from an egoic perspective. And for the vibrational upgrade practitioners in training who come here and meet me here, they have these 12 commandments that I give them, and it's joking. And at the same time, they're genuinely assertions of vibrational upgrade practitioners. 1, do not ever project. 2, do not ever give advice. People can get advice from their family, and do they listen to it? Your clients aren't coming to you for advice, they're coming to you for what comes through intuitively, as well as the light that the vibrational upgrade practitioners are channeling on behalf of their client in the energy medicine session. That intuitive guidance is meant to not satisfy your egoic desires all the time. And I see people manipulating, like looking for a full body yes, or saying my sacral doesn't agree with this. And there's a saying of, if it doesn't challenge you, then growth isn't there. If you're not challenged, you're not growing. Now, I'm not talking about 24 hours, 7 days a week challenge. Of course, we have to have balance and rhythm and flow, like nature, like waves of the ocean, like the 4 seasons. But the idea of manipulating our interpretation of our intuitive guidance, I know that there are so many nuanced levels to improving what I have called for decades accurate perception. I started saying something quite a few decades ago. I don't need to be right. I need to have accurate perception. And so you avoid a lot of delays, difficulties, issues, and you can be on your path and have your life flourishing, like I would say 5 to 10 years sooner in some cases, depending on the choice that you're not making because you're listening to what your ego wants and you're going that way instead of that way. So one of the other things that happens with vibrational upgrade practitioners in training is at every level they're given a new divination tool, and they're taken out to increasingly more and more subtle energy at different sacred sites. This is pretty obvious right here, right? Look at that, that's gorgeous. But tuning into the energy of the land at these different sites is helping them learn how to identify more and more subtle information to use on behalf of their clients. And first and foremost, vibrational upgrade practitioners are masterminders, so for their own life, because out of Magic Manifestation and Money Flow, my signature program, that's where the masterminders come, and it's a continuation of and a deepening of their self-mastery and their mastery over the manifestation process. And so if you're checking out to see intuitively if this is a good choice for you, choice A, and you know that you're not wanting to do it, you can manipulate. Let's say you use a pendulum, it'll answer you with what you want to hear, what your ego wants to hear. The ego is so domineering, right? It's so dominant and it's pushy, and the intuitive guidance isn't. It floats in, it's like a parachute, it's a lot softer, like a feather. And you can feel free to follow that which your ego wants, but I'm telling you, in the nature of the times we're in now, the more that you can genuinely surrender to your higher self and its guidance and work with it at more and more nuanced levels, the more proactively you're choosing change, the more blessed your life is going to be because of your alignment being increased. The more you stay in the ego land, and do what your ego wants you to do. Like, I don't feel like doing that right now, so I don't feel like spending that money or investing in myself to develop that more. I could just piece together these free things on YouTube. If you were to go against, this is another level to it too, what your ego wants, because one of the ego's tactics is delay, right? A lot of you can relate to that, I'm sure, because there's a lot of delay in that happens in the form of self-sabotage, and people will delay their up-leveling by years with certain decisions over and over again. I know that I can set people onto a different trajectory if they come in and work with me in magic manifestation and money flow, and save them years of piecing together stuff for free, or piecing together this MP3 and that program and that product and that product and that and this. And if it's something that is aligned, it has the capacity to raise you levels that if you were to do it based on what your ego wants, here and there spatterings, because that's how the ego is, and you listen to it saying, oh, I don't have a full body, yes, I won't do that, when in fact that's the vehicle to get you in that increased alignment where co-creation is easier, there's less disruptive change, there's more proactive change, you're at a higher vibration, so you're commanding more easily what you desire to have manifest. So one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from my first meditation teacher was do the exact opposite of what your ego mind wants. And I'm giving that advice to you now. Do the exact opposite of what your ego mind wants and see the results, and see how much stronger you feel, and see how much more command you have over your field and over energies and over your manifesting. Because the more you can discipline down your ego, that more you have the ability to connect with creative energies. So one of the things that you could also ask yourself when you're listening to your guidance and you're not wanting to follow the guidance is, am I lying to myself here? Am I fooling myself here? There's so much advancement that wants to happen now. We are up leveling as we make our turn into the spring of 2025. This is a huge year, and I knew it in the beginning back in December when I was tuning into 2025. It's a turning point year, but it's a deepening too of what a lot of us have already been doing for decades. There's all these front runners on the front edge, leading edge, cutting edge of consciousness and doing this work for decades. And then there's the newer people awakening. And so we've done a lot of the work already to help the collective rise. So those of you who are newer at this have an easier time. So you could re-listen to this video and you could write down a couple of the key suggestions, because I just gave you gems and rambled on through it because of so many gems to be given by this here woman sitting down on the Glastonbury Abbey sacred land. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I wonder what else will become possible for you to create if you were to do the exact opposite of what your ego wants, or if you were to actually lean into where you're resisting and do it anyway. Says the crow. Did you hear it? Namaste.